Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brandon Grant. I want to welcome you to the podcast, the Cigar Project. And the whole focus of this is having conversations with people, whether it's my friends, whether it's some business people around the community. But it will do this while smoking a cigar. And today we're here at Jake's Cigar Bar. We've got a nice UK basketball game that's playing. And so you're probably able to hear that back in the background. But today is really just focusing, having my good friend Nick Wallace that's going to be here having the conversation with us. So, again, I want to welcome you to episode 1 of the Cigar Project. All right, so Nick, man, I appreciate you being like the first person that did this. You found out this week that we were doing this.
Excited to be here. Yeah, what, Wednesday?
Wednesday, me, you, and
planned
Matt were all together, and it was just like, hey, you want to come this Saturday? And here we are at Jake's, which, by the way, Jake's Cigar, Jake's Cigar Bar here in Brandon Crossing in Nicholasville. If you've never been, I would just totally recommend it. It is just an awesome place, great place to hang out, watch the game, and you don't feel rushed or anything like that. And they have just been awesome allowing us to come in here and just shoot the breeze today.
Yeah, the fellowship in this place is always great.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Every time. So, Nick, part of the Cigar Project is talking about cigars. So, what's the cigar that you're smoking?
We've got a Christoph going here.
Oh, nice.
First time I've had it. I forget the brand name, but smooth.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go. Mine's an Ashton VSG. Big fan of the Ashton VSGs. Most of the time when you see me on the podcast, I'll be smoking the Ashton VSGs. Torpedo, of course. But it's really great. Really
V-cut
great.
Or straight cut?
Huh?
V-cut?
Straight cut every
Straight
time.
cut. Okay.
V-cut is if you have never smoked one before.
Oh, okay. Well.
I'm just kidding. All right, Nick. I wanted you to do this. You're a good friend of mine. Me and you have known each other for almost 2 years now. Been like May of 2018.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Time flies.
Time flies.
Yeah.
And the whole reason of doing this is obviously every time I'm a true believer. That's why I wanted to do this podcast, that whenever you smoke a cigar with someone, like, you're just able to have great conversations. My number one rule is that I won't smoke one by myself. I don't believe in it. And by the way, I don't encourage smoking cigars either. I just like doing this and having conversations with people, but I don't believe that you have to smoke one in order to have great conversations. But every time that I've had really great conversations, and that's where this came out of. So if you don't mind, Nick, just talk about I've got to know you for 2 years. What's it been like just for you the last 2 years? And one of the things about me is I'm a pastor at Eastside Community Church, and I've gotten to know Nick quite a bit. And I just wanted to know, for you, what's it been like the last 2 years, and now smoking a cigar here with me.
Yeah. I agree with you, by the way. The cigars almost have the same effect as a campfire or something like that. It just
Absolutely
stirs up a good conversation. The question, the last 2 years, what's that been like for me? Similar to, I was asked this question at a video for our church recently of, the recent journey. And you know this, whenever you met me 2 years ago, I was in a place where I was... my wife and I were looking for a church, but we weren't necessarily looking for a community of people. We were just looking for something to do on Sundays.
Yeah, man.
To make sure that we were doing it. And fortunately, I found a great church when you invited me, Eastside, that it was a community of people who, it wasn't a set of rules. It wasn't something that once you become a part of, you have to go through a big membership process.
Yeah.
It was a group of people who wanted to accept you and build you up. And what I didn't realize is what that comes with is an empowerment and a challenge to become a community builder myself. To become somebody who seeks to provide that to others. Give them the same sense of community, the same sense of belonging, and share, just blatantly tell you, share the grace of God with others in a way that I've experienced it over the last couple of years.
Wow. Wow, man. You know, and the whole point of having these conversations is not just to make it just spiritual and like, well, if I don't believe in this, then I don't need to listen to this. You know what I'm saying? It's like us guys talking about things as well.
Sure.
And one of the things that I love talking about is, and I believe it, like what you said about the campfire, of like when you can have conversations like this, right? I want to ask you, Nick, because I think this is great. For guys in general, what do you think most men struggle with or deal with in today's terms or in life today?
Yeah. As a man, we're presented with a whole set of responsibilities or expectations that we're going to be um, tough through everything, that we're never going to show emotion, that we're just always going to roll with the punches. And I think that something that I've come to realize, and you can even see it in the studies, mental health studies and things like that affect men more than women, statistically, in a lot of cases, has to do with the fact that what I just said, that toughness, that lack of togetherness, and cause men to be lonely, I would say. I would say that men experience that in their because they themselves have been taught that they have to be, or we ourselves have been taught that we have to be lone wolves.
Yeah, man.
Not lean on each other.
Yeah. What do you think? Let me ask you this: have you dealt this with yourself?
100%. 100%. Not only, not only do I struggle with sometimes thinking that I myself can fix everything that is wrong with me or everything that's going on in my life. If my family's having troubles, if my, at work, different things like that, I think that I can fix everything, as opposed to leaning on others' guidance and leaning on others' just togetherness and community, learning from that. That's definitely something that I struggle with. I can't help, while we're talking about this, to think about a quote from a really good movie, Planet of the Apes. You ever seen Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
What, like the old Planet of the Apes or the new?
No, the relatively new one. It was the first of the 3-part series that came out new.
Yeah.
And Caesar was put in that, big auditorium type setting, and he was trying to teach the other apes how to essentially break out of their constraint. And he had a stick, and he broke it. And he said ape by himself is weak, and then he broke it several times, and now he's got like 8 sticks bundled up, and he couldn't break it. He said ape together strong.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I can't help but think of that whenever we're having this conversation right now.
Yeah, man. That's so good. And for me, that's why I say, like, I don't believe that having a cigar or a drink, or some people think that they gotta go do this or that in order to have friendships, things like that. I believe that these things are part of it, right? But I believe that truly, and I can say this for myself, is that I've realized of how I can feel alone, and I don't feel like I could have friends, right? And I believe that I truly believe that men themselves feel alone, don't feel like they have anybody.
Sure.
And I believe also that they'd rather not even talk about it. It's easy not to talk about it. It's easy to just go on with it, do things. And so that's why I believe that a lot of guys also just escape into a reality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? And so I believe everything that you said is that one, when you have a community of people that care for you, why would you not want to be a part of that? Right? Like, why? Who wouldn't want to be a part of that? Like, hey, I'm going to care for you. All right, thanks. I don't want to be a part of that. Right?
Sure.
Or you go, I believe that there is something better for me, and there's something better for you. Let's do something about this.
Yeah.
Let's go on, and I believe that whether you put that in the spiritual realm, which in my life, that's what I do, but in general, like you just say, like I think there's something greater in this. There's more than just going out to the bars. There's more than just for men saying like, well, I'm gonna go cheat on my girlfriend or my wife. I don't think that's great, right?
I think I hear you saying there's more to living a life of short-term fulfillment, along with fulfill all your responsibilities and short-term fulfillment by going to the bar and doing those other things you said to just equal out. You're saying being a part of something and having somebody who's carrying a group of people who's caring for you, investing in you long term, and you're talking about a group of men essentially.
Yeah, because like the attraction to doing all that stuff is like, well, that's where my friends go. We're able to go to the bar and hang out and do life together. But whenever like crap hits the fan, right? Who's going to be there for you?
Oh, what about when the bar closes? It happens that quickly, right?
The bar closes, right? It
Sure.
has to close, and I truly believe that guys feel alone in general. I do. And so, I want to go back to the original question. You've seen yourself, you and your wife, Kirsten, and just in a year, I personally got to see just what God's doing in your life. What would you say? Because you talked about like you knew that things have grown and it's just not like coming in, coming out. But what would you say has been like a huge realization in your own life in this last year?
I have experienced a lot of things in the last year that have given me a new perspective, and I hope that I'm continuing to be blessed with the challenges and experiences that I've had in my life up to this point because of not only in the last year but just over my whole life, challenges and experiences, just observing challenges and experiences that I and the people around me have been through. But to answer your question, what has caused this realization or this growth in my mindset, in my life? I could list off so many things. One big thing, you were there with me. We went to Guatemala and hung out with our girls of Prince of Peace, which is a girls' orphanage of a group of the most kind-hearted, just deep-rooted in their faith girls, ages 0 to 20.
Yeah.
And how happy they are, even though they have so little material possessions.
Yeah, man.
That was one. Another is people like yourself and several others who have done what you're talking about. This group, having a group of men that care for you. You said, and the analogy of would you tell somebody you didn't want to be a part of that? But I think what you're saying is having a group of people that cares for you means that a group of people that says, hey, I understand what you're going through and I want to support you in that, but then also I understand what you're capable of and I want to push you towards that.
Yeah.
Those two things.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Like, I just don't think, like, I think of myself. Like last night, we had some of the high school guys and gals over at Alicia and I's house, right? We played Rook with them for like 3 hours, and that came out of Guatemala as well.
Yeah.
And my wife we have a 4-month-old. We had Judah, right? And obviously, breastfeeding, all that fun stuff. And came like we all were drawing cards, and we go, hey, whoever gets the black Rook card has to take a shot of the breast milk, right? Listen to this. No, this is true, right? So kid, he grabs it, and he was the one that it was like the most perfect scenario ever because he's the one who's like, there's no way I would do this, but yeah, I'll draw a card, right? It was him who got the black card, right? And it took 15 minutes for him to do it because he just kept going like, no. And then all it took me was to go, I bet you won't do it. I bet you won't do it. And it's like that guy mentality that goes, oh, you don't think I'll do it? Okay, I'll do it, right? And he did it right there. And I believe that guys in general, there's just something that clicks on that goes, oh, you see something better in me? Okay, I want to be a part of that. Like, oh, you don't think I'm going to do that? then fine. That's exactly where I'm headed. I'm going to do that. So if I looked at you, and again, I think it's a competitive side as well, right? That
I'm not
goes,
competitive.
I'm gonna. What did you say?
I said I'm not competitive.
But but if I just go like, hey, I see something great in you. I wanna be a part of it. If you say that to me, like you say, hey Brandon, I love you, and I think you're gonna do some great things. I'm gonna be like, okay, this guy's got my back, right?
Sure.
Or like, I bet you can't do that, Brandon. Well, by golly, I will.
We had a phone call the other day,
Yeah.
and you said to me, I feel like there's a certain group of men who are just on fire to grow. In so many
100%.
words, that's what you said. And
Yeah.
you said, imagine if that group doubled,
Yeah.
what the impact would be.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is what if, let me throw a scenario at you. Here we are, we're in central Kentucky, and what if all of a sudden half of the adult men in central Kentucky chose to pursue the best version of themselves and to pull out the best version of each other? I'm not saying that I'm, great at doing that by any means. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to seek that. But can you
Yeah.
imagine what the impact that would have on the men and the families in?
Well, the mindset itself is going, when you change from going, well, I want to be the best that I can be, right? When you have that mindset, like, I want to achieve and I want to do all the great things, versus what if I, like, wanted the best out of that person, and out of, like, best way I can say it is, like, whenever you care for someone and you're there with them and you're seeing great things happen in their life, that inspires me, right? Because it's like, I get to watch this person grow. And again, like, that's why I say it's not just, I do believe it starts spiritually, right? And for them to see their overall life. But I also
Can you elaborate
believe,
on that?
Elaborate on what?
Start spiritually. What does that mean to you?
To me, I believe that it starts when someone decides to start a spiritual journey. It's because, again, it comes from the being alone, right? And feeling like I have no friends, feeling like I can't
Gotta do it all by
this.
yourself.
You can't do it by yourself. I believe the spiritual journey is able to realize I need people around me, and I believe that God does have something great in my life, and I have to realize that. Like I told you this past week, I came into a realization for myself. This is a true story. This happened this past week, of not realizing that I was unintentionally blocking myself away and isolating myself and being alone, right? And I had to come and say, I need help. I need help.
Wow.
Right? And that's where I believe that's the spiritual journey, is whenever you realize you need help. But it's so much easier to talk about than process and go through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, easier
Because
said
it could
than
be
done,
10
you're
years
saying.
from now. 10 years from now, it could happen.
Something I thought while you were saying that is, there's never a more vulnerable place to be than in a place where you say, I've got it all figured out by myself, and
Yeah.
I can do it all. But there's never a more vulnerable place to be, because the second you trip up or fall,
Yep.
when you're in that place, the belief system that you had that you're totally good, and
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way several times
Yeah.
through my life. But do you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Never more.
Yeah. No.
Think about a boxing match, a fighter who thinks that he's just like totally got it won and he's totally in control, and then goes into a fight and he actually doesn't. That realization, there's never a more, it's similar to that.
Exactly. Which, by the way, can we talk about that fight that you and I watched
Wilder
2 weekends
Fury
ago?
was awesome.
Dude, that Wilder and Fury fight, I never stayed up and watched a fight like that late before, and it was like 12 o'clock. My dad had my uncles over, and Had some friends over. It was a great time.
A group of men that
Just
were in
a group
fellowship.
of men, and the conversations got pretty hilarious. But we were watching that fight, and we were almost falling asleep on that fourth match, and then that fifth one came, and they just started swinging right away. It woke us all up. 100% it did.
What a great fight. Historical.
It was. Can I see those matches there? Here, this is called the Cigar Project, and I think I've smoked a cigar.
One important thing about the
time.
Cigar Project is that your cigar stays lit. You have to keep the cigar lit.
Well, that's part of the problem is that all I do is talk. But you know what? This is real life, and most of the time when I smoke a cigar, I have to relight it about 100 times.
I've got a runaway cigar over here. Don't know where he's going, but not smoking straight, that's for sure.
You know, sorry, buddy. I had to.
Probably my fault for setting it down for so long.
Hey, I was looking for it whenever you was talking, and I was like, I don't know where it's at, so that's all right. But I'm gonna hold on to it now, so that's what it is.
So that you're forced to smoke it and keep it alive.
Yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, I'll mention at the beginning, Jake's Cigar Bar. I'm telling you, this place is fantastic. Great place to hang out with a group of guys.
It is. Of guys hanging out here.
I don't think I could pay my wife to come inside this place. I don't think she would last maybe 5 minutes. Maybe. Right? But it's just such a great place. Great staff.
Kirsten likes it. It's for some ladies. She likes it. She doesn't like the cigars part.
That's what I'm saying.
Kind of the whole point of it. But
it is. But I really appreciate the staff and Jake. I was able to shake our hands right at the beginning of this.
And the atmosphere in here, too.
Yeah,
this
is
just really
great.
cool. Everybody's just watching the
place.
game.
I definitely recommend this place, and just want to thank them again for allowing us to do this because we're just set up here with all this equipment, and they are just while the game's playing. UK, what's the score, by the way?
18-25. UK is down right now. 6 minutes left in the half.
There you go. Well, like I said, the whole point of this is to talk and have the conversations we would by having a cigar. So let me ask you this, Nick. What do you see happening next for Nick Wallace? I'll answer.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a big question, huh?
Oh, my gosh. There's so many projects inside my head right now. Of course, there's my business aspirations that I'm working on right now. My personal aspirations have to do with moving my family close to me so that my parents who take care of my brother who has disabilities, they're entering the next phase of their life where they need a smaller home to retire in and things like that. Moving them close to me is a big phase.
Yeah.
But another thing is, it plays a lot into this conversation right now, not just a community of men, but just building community, because I think something that's going on in our world right now is there's so many devices and technologies that are giving us an easy way out of fellowship and community. And you see that everywhere with social media, technology, texting. Gosh, texting's been going on since you and I were young, middle school, high school kind of a thing. But I see that is pouring into the world, the adult world, everything with it. And so I see the next, I don't know actually what will happen, but I know what will be happening.
Yeah.
For me in my next phase of life is just continuing to seek to pull people together
and
build those relationships and communities, not only in my immediate family, not only in my business world, not only in my spiritual life, but that's just my goal overall.
So you know the why and you know the how.
I don't know what.
You don't know what yet.
I don't know what, yes.
Oh, man. That's a good place to be, though. When you already know your why, that's a great place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, for myself, I don't know. I think that part of doing this conversation, and I've told you this week, the word this week has been unleashed, right?
Oh man,
it's been a big word.
Up when you say that,
and I believe that God's unleashing some big things to happen, and I'm with you. I don't know the what yet, but I know the why, and the why is because I've realized in my own life, I got to ask for help. And that's what I hope that we, that was able to come out of today's, episode, was that it's okay to ask for help. it's okay to say, like, I need some help in life,
Sure.
right? And this week when I did it, I'm always afraid of what someone's going to say back. And I've realized that in order for me to unleash, I got to do that. I got to do that.
You gotta play on a team. You can't
I can't have the
can't do it.
what
by
was it that
yourself.
Shaq said about Kobe?
What did he say?
You should not see that whenever they did the memorial. So
That stuff was tough for me.
that
man.
was
I
tough.
couldn't.
But he goes, he said that Kobe was having a really hard time. It was a practice, and he was just dribbling, shooting, was not passing the ball at all, and the younger guys were getting discouraged. So they go up to Shaq and was like, "Hey, Shaq, what's the possibility you talk to Kobe and see if we can have the conversation of, like, passing the ball?" So Shaq walks over there, and he's just like, "Hey, Kobe, there's no I in team." So that Kobe looked at him and was like, "But there's a me in it."
Yeah.
So
Kobe's
I
the man.
believe that for me, I have I've had that mentality of me,
Sure.
because I think I know what's best, and I see the vision, but I forget about the team.
Let go of some control.
100%.
Well, here's another thing I want to say is not only does a community that you're talking about having mean that you can share when you're having trouble and need some help, but I think it's important for men to also be able to share what they're excited about, what's going on great in their life.
1,000,000,000%.
If you don't have a community that can do that,
Yeah.
you're in trouble again.
Yeah.
You be with you through your ups and downs. But while we're on Kobe, I want to tell one of my favorite Kobe stories.
Go ahead.
And I heard this about a year ago, so this was before the unfortunate things that have happened
Yeah.
recently. But and this has everything to do with what we're talking about. Kobe, obviously, a lot of young guys would come through the NBA and play on his ball teams, and this was on a podcast that I heard. There was a time when his teammates really wanted to go out the night before a game. They might have been in Miami. That's the city that usually the NBA players find themselves in trouble in.
Yeah.
And Kobe said, "Okay, I'll hang out with you guys and do what you want to do if you hang out with me, because this is how we do it. We do it together."
Yep.
So Kobe went out with him that night, and they were out till like 1 o'clock, out partying before the basketball game. At 4 a.m. the next morning, Kobe was banging on their door and saying, "Hey, I hang out with you. Let's go to the gym and
I love it.
practice because we're in this together."
I love
And
it.
he was not taking no for an answer. So he went with them to do the thing that he didn't really enjoy at all,
Yep.
but then brought them out. And I think that is the best Kobe story that I've heard.
Well, Nick, I'm glad to call you a friend. I believe that there's some big things that are happening in your life. I love watching how you and your wife have just, best way I could say it, is evolved over the last year. Well, my wife and I always talk about just love watching you guys grow. And I believe that there are some big things ahead of Nicholas Wallace. And I'm just proud to call you a friend, man. I appreciate you being able to do episode 1 of the Cigar Project, smoking a cigar, not a cherry bomb cigar.
No, we got Christoph going this time.
You got a Christoph, not a cherry bomb. But man, I'm so proud of you, man. I appreciate you being able to chat and open up.
Absolutely. I appreciate you being there for me and challenging me to be better than I am currently and continue to do so. I hope that you continue to pour that into me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're always looking for some people to talk to. If you ever want to reach out, if you want to come and talk on this as well, I encourage you you can message me personally at Brandon@eastsideky.church, eastsideky.church. And I would love, part of this is just having conversations with people and see where it goes. And Nick and I was driving on the way here. We had no agenda. We kind of did, but we was on the way here and we just like, man, this is a great conversation. Let's do it. And that's where it went. So appreciate you guys listening. Again, thanks to Jake Cigar, and we look forward to the future ones of this. Thanks.